Get ready to podcast. That was weird. It is Sunday, July 23rd, 2023.
Sunday.
And you were listening to episode 21 of Black Box Signal. I can't tell. I was just talking about wrestling a little bit ago. I'm your host, as always, Chase Johnson. Brandon Gaston is once again out in the field. So this week we are rejoined by Dustin Miller. How is it going?
What up? It's going well. Yeah, can't complain.
Yeah? No complaints? Yeah. I've got complaints.
No. I mean, I got complaints too, but it's not about life.
Yeah, I got complaints about life, but I mean, that's...
Yeah.
I got lots. I complain about everything. That's kind of my shtick. I mean...
I wasn't gonna say anything. I was gonna keep it to myself, but... No, you're good.
Like, this is first world problems. I know we were kind of talking this before we started, but so Twitter's terrible. It's gotten so bad. They recently started charging to use the API. So I have a button that usually sends out a tweet on my Stream Deck. First world problems, I know. Now the button don't work. Makes me angry. I have to actually physically type out the tweet now. It's annoying. Also the
what?
Also the rebrand to X is dumb. That literally that's trending now. That's stupid, but that's
apparently they're saying it could happen any minute. It's just gonna switch and we won't even know.
Yeah, probably after this podcast I'll look at my phone and there'll be a new looking app on my phone. I'll be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I'll be like, what like cryptocurrency mining app did accidentally get downloaded on here?
Somebody said that this looks like a human trafficking website now, and I couldn't help but laugh a little bit because not saying that that's a joke, but I mean Elon Musk.
It's accurate.
Elon Musk, human trafficking. There's a correlation, you know.
It's somewhere in there.
But yeah, since we kind of been playing the same thing, we'll jump into what I've been doing first.
Yeah.
Originally, I said I finished the NieR anime, the first season. Well, I'm a liar, because today 4 more episodes of the Japanese sub dropped, so I'm still 4 episodes behind. But I watched episodes 1 through 8 that are dubbed.
I'll ask you again in about 6 months when you finally get to those 4 episodes.
Once they get dubbed. Hey, Final Corgi, how's it going?
What up, Final Corgi?
But I will say so far to go into to avoid spoilers for you because I still want you to play that game.
Dude, it's okay. Like it's like me spoiling One Piece for you. Like it's been around for a while.
Right. That is true. This game has been around since 2014.
Yeah, like so like it's like almost 10 years old at this point.
Also, if you know anything about like Yoko Taro and what I've told you about, and any Yoko Taro fans would know that he likes to play with the timeline a lot. So to go into loose spoilers, there's a character that is dead in the video game, but is alive and in the place of another one in the show. I'll just say their names. So it's just easy to say. So an enemy who's your quest giver in NieR Automata, she's alive in the game and Lily is dead. It's flipped in the show. Lily's alive and an enemy's dead. So, and Yoko Taro's obsessed with flowers, so there's a lot of flower names. But and they also do a lot of other things that kind of play with the timeline, and it's so well done so far. As somebody who is usually like video game adaptations, usually are a lot more miss than hit, but this one's really good so far.
When you mentioned that they were messing with like the already established timeline, I was a little nervous, especially coming from like a huge fan like yourself. I thought maybe you would hate the fact that they changed some things.
Well, like I said, if Yoko Taro wasn't known for like branching timelines, and the way I look at this is like, okay, this is just another branch. This is just like a different alternate, like slightly different variation. Like technically Drakengard 2 isn't even part of his universe because somebody else wrote it. Like he literally is just like, no, that don't count. Like,
didn't you say that the game itself has like 2 endings or something that haven't been found yet?
No, all the endings in Automata have been found.
Okay.
Endings, all the endings that you get are A through E. Those are like the important endings. All the other ones are what they call
Mm-hmm.
false endings. Basically, like there's an ending that you get in your Automata. Like if you take like the upgrades are used instead of having like upgrades, they're plug-in chips because you're an Android, so you'd be plugging chips into
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm.
If you remove the wrong chip, you can kill yourself, and then
Oh,
that gives you ending W, I think. Like,
okay.
or there's another thing in there like if you eat a mackerel, that type of fish, it poisons
Mm-hmm.
the android and kills them because something in the mackerel is poisonous to androids, and then you get an ending for that. That's what they call false endings. They're all endings that just end in game overs. Or if you die before you reach the first save point, you get another letter. So all the other endings. So I have not gotten every single ending in NieR because I would have to die in a bunch of weird ways, essentially. Uh, but the main endings I've got. But that's why, like I said, that's why I accept, that they're playing with the timeline because Yoko Taro is already known for doing that. So I can kind of roll with it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, and that's why the name of the anime is NieR Automata version 1.1A. Like, weird title.
Do you think if they do like a season 2 or anything like that, it's going to be called like Automata version 2, and
Or
it's going to be
1.2B, or
yeah, and it's going to be the exact same story but just slightly different.
I, I'm cool with it so far. Like they're already hinting at that. Like multiple characters are like switching their roles. Like they're playing the same
Okay.
part, but like there's two antagonist characters that they're hinting at. They're flipping places. Like one bites the bullet first, and the other one later,
Hmm.
and they're flipping it. They're doing a bunch of stuff. Final Corgi says, "Really need to get into NieR. It's on my list." Yes, you do. I'm biased though.
I will say, much to your chagrin, I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to play it once I beat 16.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't let you. That's why I haven't slid you my copy yet. I've been like, you need to get through 16 first because
Yeah.
that's current. Um, but yeah, Yoko Taro is known for weird titles like hold on a second. This is gonna be not play that well on the podcast. Oh,
Heading for time.
it's at
Oh,
the
there we
very
go.
bottom of my pile. But like the NieR Replicant remake is like NieR Replicant version 1.24, but it's like a bunch of numbers. So the joke of it is it's just called NieR numbers. But it's the square root of 1.5 because he's like, it's not quite a 2, it's not quite a 1.5 update. It's not quite, even though it looks really good, like he did a really good job like
Mhm.
remastering it. It's just like a joke title, like version
That's funny.
1.2437. Like it's this huge repeating decimal. And then it just says dot
That's
dot
really
dot.
cool.
Yeah. Um that's so edgy. You don't even know the half of it. You've never played Drakengard, where the series was born. That's
Oh
like
dear
dark
God.
edgy. Like,
I've
good
watched
lord.
those videos you sent me on those, and I think I'm going to be just fine starting off just playing NieR.
And then there's me who is now trying to emulate them. I'm like, I
We could
must play
find a
them.
way. We can
my
find a way.
my best friend Zach, who we're eventually gonna have on the podcast to talk about 16, because he's like my big Final Fantasy buddy that I've known
Mhm.
since 8th grade. Eventually, we're gonna have him on, but he actually still has a working copy of the original Drakengard, and I'm like,
Dude, that's awesome.
dude, we just need to find a working memory card. I have a PS2 that's just missing like a power cable. Let's go. Like, let's meet up. Let's go.
Hey, I listen. I like to see people succeed in their dreams. I like people to fulfill their dreams. I just happen to have a PS2 in my basement with 2 working memory cards and a power cord.
Okay. All right. Well,
You're welcome.
that's happening now.
There's 2 controllers down there too,
That's
and
happening
they're
now.
wireless. So,
Yep, yep. And then I can sit
mhm.
here and talk about how Leonard is super problematic through the whole game. Uh,
Yeah, we're not. Let's not mention him today, please.
no kidding.
Yeah.
And then I lied to you guys, which it isn't the first time. I said I was gonna beat season this week. I didn't.
The
Um,
funniest thing is you just lied,
yeah.
like at the beginning of
At
the
the beginning,
podcast. Now you're lying again.
the thing is, before you even been on this, I have a track record of lying on this podcast. All
I don't
right.
know if it's so much lying. I think it's more of the promises and things that you haven't fulfilled
I
yet.
remember when I was like saying like I'm gonna beat God of War by the next podcast. 3 podcasts later, I beat God of War. But I did play more of Season. I continue to love that game. It is still like really good. I'm hoping that I can commit to it this week. Like tomorrow, just playing a good chunk of it. Tonight, playing a good chunk of it because I played a lot of. Problem is, I got diverted with 16, which we'll get to. But I'm because I played a lot of 16 over the weekend. I'm like tonight as my wind down game. I need to play Season because it's chill. It can kind of wind me down before going to bed. I don't got to get all upset with what's happening in 16. Um,
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna say anything.
um, but yeah, that game continues to be amazing. I love it. It is probably gonna be definitely towards the top of my list for game of the year so far. Um, and then let's see, on stream I played more Final Fantasy 1. Don't got much more to say about that. Except I'm now where Dustin's at, where I'm party wiping everybody with my black mage. Um, and just casting Thundara on everybody and just watching them all just get wiped. Like he's literally my
uh,
squishiest party member, but also my
yeah,
strongest.
yeah, I've noticed that. Well, I will say, my warrior, I got the ice sword and the fire sword for, and now it does like 6 hits of damage every time I strike.
Yeah, my warrior's
So
pretty beefy too. Like
it's like 300 to 400 damage every time he swings the sword. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
always nice.
definitely. So yeah,
Yeah.
I've been playing more of that. I'll continue to probably chip away at that on stream, making that my stream game. Um, and then lastly, what we'll both get into is the meat and potatoes, what
Mm-hmm.
we've been playing. And I am just going to warn you, I'm going to make a time code here. Chase, future Chase, remember, 12 minutes and 20 seconds in. Um, we are going to be talking a little bit of spoilers about what would you say, maybe halfway through
Where you
16?
where you're at?
Yeah, maybe
Where you're at's about a third.
a third. Okay, we'll say a third
Yeah.
of the way through 16. So we're going to definitely get into spoilers here. Um, so yeah. I
Mm.
learned about the curse. Yeah. So if you
Mm.
use magic in this universe, eventually you're going to turn into a statue and then just crumble away, which
Dust.
is very Yoko Taro. Not to keep bringing
But
that up, but
it's for bearers only. At least that's what I got.
yeah, no, it looks like dominance too because you saw
Oh,
Sid's arm.
dominance too.
You saw
I
Sid's
I was
arm.
mostly saying like anyone who uses crystals doesn't deal with it.
Yes, yes. It's
Yeah.
anybody who, yeah, is using magic without crystals. Um,
Right.
which, like I said, is very similar to something that happens in NieR called white chlorination syndrome. I
Hmm.
won't tell you the details of like how, like, but long story short, if you catch white chlorination syndrome and make the wrong choice, you turn and you start chlorinating into like salt and eventually wither away. So that is like that's instantly jumped out in my head of like I know I keep making those similarities between it, but I'm like, yep, that is like that just jumped right out at me. I hate my mom so much. Uh,
I'm
she
gonna laugh if your mom pops in the chat because not knowing you're talking
she's
about the
already
game.
here. Actually, she is already in here. Not you, mom. The mom in Final Fantasy 16. She's a bitch.
I call her bitch mom.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
1,000%. So after you get your limit break in that game, you come back to this village and she sent troops to basically just murder everybody. Like
Mm-hmm.
women, children didn't care. Like just
No.
wiped the whole village out.
No. Oh, I'm trying so hard to hold my tongue right now.
Oh, I know, because you're
There's
farther than
there's so
me.
many things I want to say, but I don't want to ruin it for you.
Yeah. You kind of I have pressed L3 and R3 to accept the truth.
Okay.
So
By the way, probably one of the most epic scenes in the whole fight. Well, up to where I'm at, I don't want to overhype things for you, but I will say, even though it's like probably one of the coolest things ever, there is one part that I've gotten to that is probably a little bit cooler.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So where we are in the story is it started off with that revenge quest where you were going after Joshua's killer. and then you kind of find out that you were Joshua's killer. Boom, boom,
What?
boom. And the way that I kind of like put two and two together was like, okay, well, the reason why he killed Joshua is because Joshua was trained his whole life to be a dominant, so he knew how to control it. Clearly, Clive didn't, and that's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
Although I will say Joshua's dead? Question mark. Um, but so you eventually like accept the truth, and now you're on a new mission to basically like stop all this bad shit from happening to the bears with Sid. And you find out the classic, which is a classic Final Fantasy trope, that the mother crystals that provide the magic for everybody and yada 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 are actually, you as you draw from it, is killing the planet. Very similar to like, Mako and Final Fantasy VII. The more you draw from that kills the planet. So I'm so on board with the story now because I love this kind of stuff so much.
Chase, you're in luck. This week is gonna be hard for me to stream. I need you to catch up to me.
We have so much to talk about.
We have so much to talk about.
I guess those are all the spoilers. I don't want to go too much farther into it.
I mean, you do. I mean, you know this part, but like, you do get good old dear departed dad's armor and sword, and that was awesome.
That was awesome. Can you put in the chat when the FF16 talk's done? I'm where Clive gets his limit break. Final Corgi says, "I'm just."
Oh, we're not talking past that.
We're not really talking about. I mean, I talked a tiny bit past it, but it's literally just like a few moments past it. So I'm really not that much farther than you.
I'm holding my tongue because I'm a little over halfway into the game at this point.
Yeah. The limit break is real cool. Limit break mode. So now we'll go into like gameplay stuff where it just makes you super overpowered and fast and awesome.
I don't know if you've noticed it, but it also you become a sponge for like enemy hits.
Yeah.
Enemy hits don't stop you. You just keep attacking through it.
Yeah. And I noticed like your health keeps going up, I think, too.
I think it's like you get a very minor like
it
regen
regenerates
tick.
you a little bit. Yeah. Which is super cool. I realized I never hit the games button. I'm just gonna hit now. That was bad. That's gonna play well.
That's okay. It's okay.
But yeah, the limit break is real cool. I am just that's another game that's like at the top of my list. I do have a Final Fantasy bias, but that it is, like we said on the last podcast, this is such a banger year for games.
Yeah,
and we're not even all the way through yet.
I'm scared because I know I was just saying how I was going to pick up NieR right after I beat this. I say I give myself maybe like another 2 to 3 weeks to beat the game. Armored Core comes out at the very end of August. I mean, I'm probably going to play it on stream. It's probably not going to be a stream-centric game, but
I will at least play a little bit on stream. I'm going to record one stream to throw, because I usually try to throw a little like looks of games on the Black Box channel just to like when games come out, just to kind of show some people. But I'm definitely going to stream it too. I still want to co-stream together that when we can get the multiplayer.
I am on board. I am on board.
Fun.
Okay, but I think maybe let's hash out those details right now. Are we talking about like right at the beginning we start together and we just do the beginning together, or do we both play and then come back together with like potentially like really strong formed mechs and we would play together?
I would say both. I would say we do one stream where we're total noobs and getting wrecked, and then play for a little while, and then like come like November do another stream with like our super souped up ridiculous like next.
You're gonna be really excited, man.
And also I gotta see what the structure of the game is like too, because who knows, it might be one of those things where it's like the multiplayer doesn't unlock until later or something like that.
True.
Because it is a FromSoft game. But
I'm gonna be kind of bummed if it's kind of like the only FromSoft I played multiplayer was Dark Souls 3, where I tried to play with some friends, but we realized quickly that the only person that could like progress in the story was the host. And then like us jumping into the game, we didn't actually like level up or anything. We just were there to like assist. And so I'm really hoping that if we were to jump into those games, we can like level up and like progress at the same time.
Right. Um, yeah. And then like a few weeks later for me is MK1 and Lies of P on the same day. On the
Yeah,
same day, which I'm still going back and forth on if I'm going to keep my Lies of P pre-order, to be honest, because I only have so much patience for those style of games, and the concept and the story seems real cool. But I'm like, is it going to be like one of those things that I pick up, play it for a little bit, and then end up trading it in for something else?
do you want my answer on
I
your
feel like I
behalf?
can read your answer through the camera.
Well, I'll just put it out there. Yes, it is a game I feel I can. It's going to be like God of War. You're
like,
going to drop it and
like
then attempt to sell it.
I didn't finish Elden Ring. Like I got really far in Elden Ring, and I didn't finish it because I was just like, all right, I see what this game had to offer. Like I kind of
Yeah.
like that was the one that I made it the farthest with. The other games I struggled with. Like I made it through a first couple bosses and just kept getting my ass kicked, and I was like, "Oh, I'm done." But in Elden Ring, I actually made it really far, but it got me to the point where I was like, "Okay, my build is where I want it to be at, and now this is just boss fight, rinse, repeat, boss fight, rinse, repeat."
That's okay. I'm so glad someone else had that same feeling because, like, I played a sorcerer. I made the quote unquote sorcerer supreme.
Mhm.
I got like the Azure giant, like, Kamehameha beam.
Yep, I had that too.
And then I'm like, I don't want to play.
So mine was worse. I did the mage samurai build. So I
Ooh,
had
okay.
the Moonveil katana, which scales with intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like you use like that unsheath ability. Its
Mm-hmm.
version would just do stupid amounts of damage. Like I'd smack a giant boss like 3 or 4 times and that would be it. I also had that
Mm-hmm.
Kamehameha spell. I also had the spell that summoned like 4 or 5 giant swords that would hover around you and would just shoot out
Yep, I had
randomly. I
that.
had that too.
Mm-hmm.
So it just got to the
Mm-hmm.
point where I was just like, I know I'd probably find some bosses later in that game that would probably give me a challenge, but I just got to the point where I was like, the story's not gripping me. And you know me, like
Yeah.
the story has
No,
to
I
grip me. And
get
those
that.
games are never known for their story anyway. They're more known for just their punishing gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
At least from what I can see. Um, but Liza P's premise was enough to where it had me interested. But now I'm thinking
Okay.
like, is that a game I should just like check out and not spend that
Mm-hmm.
kind of money? And I could, buy the new WWE game or something and really get upset. Or something else. I don't know. That's the other part though. Is like I'm looking down the pipe. Ooh, wait a minute. I could get Super Mario RPG instead.
Oh, yeah, no, do that.
That
Wait, which one?
yeah,
Which one comes out first?
RPG
RPG
or
does.
I
Okay,
think RPG or what's the other one?
I want to call it Wonders, but I don't think that's it.
I think it's something like that though. I think you might be right, but
Yeah,
something like that. Anyway, yeah, maybe I'll do that instead because that would be a really fun stream game to do with Violet because Violet's been wanting to do a game on stream together.
that'd be
Um,
cool.
like
That'd be so
just
cool.
shut the camera off so like people can't do it, but you can still hear our voices. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, so she's been looking forward to that. I convinced her to start getting back into Pokemon. We're deviating from topics a lot here, but I convinced her to get back into Pokemon a little bit. I told her, she was like, "What happens if I like don't beat my first gym leader?" And I'm like, "You go back out,
Try again.
catch some different Pokemon, and try again." She's like, "Oh, it's not game over," and I'm like, "No, sweetie, you'll be fine."
Tell you what, I've been meaning to get back into it after we restart the game, and I haven't played in like weeks. I'll text you when I go live with Pokemon, and
Yeah, because she likes
she can
watching it.
see how to play it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's my thing too. Is I haven't really held her hand too much with it because like when
Mhm.
she's playing it, I'm usually playing my own thing. So,
Right.
but yeah, I'm just excited that she wants to get back in that. We also want to start Kingdom Hearts 1 because she's actually a really big Kingdom Hearts fan too through me because she loves Disney. Like she's got like at a book fair, she got a Kingdom Hearts 2 guide that she just wanted like out of nowhere. She's got a Kingdom Hearts poster in her room. So
Dude,
we've talked about doing that on stream together. Because
that'd be
like
so cool.
if she gets stuck, I'm just like, just pass the controller to me, I'll get you unstuck and we'll keep going. Um yeah, yeah. And she's old enough now. She's 8, she'll be 9 in December. I feel like
Oh yeah,
that's the prime age to like start getting her into that style of stuff. It's not too dark, it's like the
I think
perfect.
that's where most Kingdom Hearts fans picked up the game anyways. It was right around when we were like 8 to 10 years old.
It came out when I was 13.
Close enough. You're 3 years
14.
off the max.
Yeah.
You're close.
Yeah. But do you
Final
have
Corgi says it's a must.
Yeah, it's definitely a must. My I think I've said this multiple times, but my top 3 series are Kingdom Hearts, NieR. NieR's number 1 now. It'd be NieR, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, and I say I would probably put Kingdom Hearts a little bit above, or Final Fantasy above Kingdom Hearts, just because like my whole thing is like, without Disney we wouldn't have Kingdom Hearts, but without Final Fantasy we wouldn't have Kingdom Hearts either. So
yeah,
that's the way that I would put it. I kind of talked over you a lot, though. Did you have anything to say about 16? I got real
we
excited.
were still talking about 16? No, just kidding. No. Listen, I had totally moved on from 16. I was totally fine continuing.
Okay, well then, if that's the case, you want to get into the news?
Sure.
Someday. First, I know everybody is sick of talking about Microsoft, but we are back in the Microsoft block.
It's a little different, though.
Yeah, there's a couple of things touching in. I'll say there's a couple stories kind of mopping up what we talked about last week, but this first one comes directly from Xbox, their website. Today they are going to end Xbox Gold, or Xbox Live Gold and Games with Gold. Kind of an end of an era, because that's been around since the 360, and they're replacing it with Xbox Game Pass Core. It's going to be launching on September 14th, and is an evolution of Live Gold. Game Pass Core will give players access to our advanced multiplayer network, which I still think is so dumb that we have to pay in 2023 to just pay online. Sony's the same way, but I still think that's so stupid.
Nintendo is the same way too.
Yep. A collection of over 25 games to play with friends around the world, and an exclusive member deals, all for $9.99 or $59.99 a year. I'm not a huge Xbox guy, so but you have an Xbox household. What do you think?
Well, RIP to the platform that first let me know that my mom was a bitch. It's sad, but slightly to be expected. I mean, not Sony, sorry. Microsoft is like, they're killing it when it comes to their online access and stuff like that. And a lot of their, like, I don't want to say free giveaways, but like that, the Game Pass.
Right.
And so it does not surprise me that they're wanting to just blend the two, because it would just make it easier, so they don't have to keep an eye on both Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Gold.
Right. I do have a list of some of these games that are coming to start. It's going to be Among Us, Descenders, Dishonored 2, Doom Eternal, Fable Anniversary Edition, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, Grounded, Halo 5 Guardians, Halo Wars 2, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, great game. Human Fall Flat, Inside, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Psychonauts 2, State of Decay 2, and The Elder Scrolls Online, Tamriel Unlimited.
I counted like a total of like maybe 2 to 3 games in there I'd be actually excited about.
Yeah, and then here's the other thing that I don't get. They said it's $9.99, right? Regular Game Pass is $10.99 a month, and you get all the games that are on Game Pass, not 25. So I don't understand.
That's where they get you. That's where they upsell you. They go, do you want a selection of like 10 to 15 games and have Xbox Gold, or do you want to pay that $1 to $2 more and get upwards of 100 games?
Right. And I'll just say this. I'm broke as a joke. I've been broke my whole life, but $9.99 versus $10.99, I think I'd be able to swing the $10.99 if I'm already paying $9.99.
Might as well.
Honestly. It's a way better deal, and I agree with you. And I agree with you, Groovy Llama. Fallout 76 is dog shit.
Oh no, but Final Corgi's coming to his own defense.
But yeah, how well is that gonna do? is my thing. Is like, is it really gonna be like this big I guess I could see some people going for it, but I just feel like
I'm,
what's the point?
I'm calling it now. Uh, uh, I give it until December of this year. They don't want to do like Xbox Gold or this Xbox Game Pass Core. Their goal is to get rid of it.
Yes,
They're
I could see
hoping
that.
by putting the price just $1 less than just Xbox Game Pass, everyone's just going to jump ship to Xbox Game Pass itself.
They either are gonna get rid of it, or I could see by December dropping it to like $4.99 a month. Like dirt,
Yeah,
like
no,
way
I
cheaper.
see by December they just say, enough people jump to Xbox Game Pass, we're getting rid of Core.
Yeah, I could totally see that
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, let's see. Next story comes from The Verge, and this is kind of mopping up from last week. Originally the Microsoft Activision transaction was supposed to be going through July 18th. But due to the CMA kind of doing that, wanting to kind of halt everything, Microsoft and Activision Blizzard extend the merger to October. The exact date is October 18th. And this is an
Okay.
attempt to negotiate and to avoid paying Activision, like, I think, I don't remember the exact number, but it was in the billions of like a break free. Oh, it's a 3.5 billion or 4.5 billion dollars will be paid to Activision
Jesus.
if the deal doesn't go through, as kind of like a breakthrough fee. Um yeah, what do you think of that? That doesn't really surprise me too much, and
No, I mean, unfortunately, like I'm in the same boat as you. I don't really have a whole lot to add to this because I'm not surprised. I mean,
they want this
they're
deal to go
already,
through.
yeah, they
And
really do.
And the next story, we'll just get into this right here to kind of piggyback off this. This comes from Games Radar, but it's everywhere. The FTC did file an appeal, and it was denied. That was kind of
Yeah.
the last ditch effort to stop it in the United States. So once the CMA makes some sort of deal, this thing's gonna go through. There's no stopping it at this point.
No,
And
I think I'm most scared about the next point, but yeah,
yeah,
it's not liking it.
yeah, it is what it is at this point. At least it gets us to stop talking. Like I said, finally stop talking about it, because like we kind of said on the last episode, it's like either go through or don't at this point. Like,
Yeah.
because like I said, I've been talking about this since I started this podcast, and it's been going on before that. Like this
Yeah.
started what, middle to late last year. This whole thing
Hmm.
started. So it's it's is what it is at this point. Like, if they're willing to
Hmm.
extend the date, if both sides are willing to extend the date at this point, like it's gonna go through.
Quit moving the goalposts. Just get it done already.
Yeah, yeah.
We're tired of hearing the inevitable. Just let it happen.
Yeah, yeah. There's nothing we can do at this point. We might as well let it go. I'm curious to see what the deal that the CMA, or what kind of agreement the CMA and Microsoft are gonna do, but hey.
Hmm.
Um, and next story comes from Polygon, kind of piggybacking off that, because Sony has kind of just thrown in the towel at this point. They signed the deal to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for the next 10 years. Um, but the sad thing is Nintendo took a deal, and it's everything that Activision has to offer.
Yeah.
And I feel Sony might have, my opinion is Sony might have kind of shot itself in the foot by playing this, because now they're only getting Call of Duty for 10 years. Nothing
Yeah.
else. Nothing else is included in this deal. Does this mean that other deals might get made later? Possibly. But as of right now, it's just Call of Duty.
I'm not a huge fan. Um, Listen, Call of Duty is a money mover.
Oh, for sure. As much as like I don't play
Regardless
it,
if you like it or not, I've bounced off the game years ago.
same.
It is a money mover. Um, as we can see by the entire proceedings of this whole like court shit with this is all just corporate greed. And so what's not to say, sure, they signed a 10-year deal for it, But what's not to say if sometime down the road, either Microsoft goes back on their word or they try to negotiate a deal. And here's the thing, Sony is very notorious for not wanting to get rid of anything that their little grubby little corporate hands are in. If
Right.
anyone remembers the debacle that was the Spider-Man like and Spider-Man and Marvel debacle that they had, where Spider-Man almost just wasn't in the MCU anymore.
Yeah.
And it was only because Sony wanted more money.
Yeah.
And and luckily, I mean, they had, if reports are to be believed, Tom Holland did have a very big hand of going in and like, get your head out of your ass and just let this fucking go through.
Right.
But they don't have that this time around.
Mm-hmm.
And so if negotiations are back on the table, or these 10 years don't get met, and like Microsoft goes, hey, we're giving you too much money after 5 years, we want to give you less. Sony does not like to give up money.
No.
And I can see it falling through, easily falling through.
Yeah. Final Corgi in the chat says, I'm really curious if Sony is going to acquire Square Enix, which would divide the consoles again, like in the PS3 360 era. That has been rumored for a while, that not necessarily that Sony is looking to buy Square Enix, but Square Enix is looking to sell to Sony. That is why you saw them kind of like get rid of like Tomb Raider. They got rid of Hitman, because originally they published the first Hitman of that trilogy reboot. They got rid of Eidos Montreal, which was making the Tomb Raider games. So a lot of people were thinking that they were slimming up to make themselves look a little bit more enticing to Sony. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Square Enix is big, but they're not Activision big. Activision Blizzard big.
Yeah. I mean, they have Final Fantasy, which is fantastic, but I mean, most of the time, most titles that you see come out of Square Enix, at least in my eyes, are published from all their smaller development or developers, like Power Wash Simulator and stuff like that. So
so we'll see if that ends up happening or not. I've been paying attention to that for a while because Square Enix is one of my favorite publishers and developers. So that's something that I've been paying attention to for quite a bit. And it wouldn't surprise me if Sony now, because they totally lost this fight, that they get real aggressive and start, all right, if you're going to play that game, then we're going to play it back. They already kind of showed that with buying Bungie a little bit. But then you can say that that was a response to Microsoft buying Bethesda. So,
okay, but like at this point, Square Enix, is that like the last, like, no pun intended, is that the last hollow bastion of developer studios left before they're all bought up by either Microsoft or Sony?
The ones that I hold near and dear are them and Sega. Like, because Sega owns Atlas, and Atlas makes Persona, and I'm a huge Persona and Shin Megami Tensei fan.
But Sega's mostly owned by Nintendo.
Yeah, but they also have a lot of exclusivity deals with Microsoft too. So they have their hands kind of everywhere. So that's the other one that I think.
You know, here's what I'll say. I think it's time for an ancient, beloved company to rise again from the ashes and take its rightful place at the throne above everyone else. It's time we start giving Atari its rightful place.
I was gonna go even more like obscure and be like, it's time for the Neo Geo to come back.
It was between Atari or Namco for me, but
or we can go real weird with it. We can go real weird.
Dude, it's time. Final Corey guessed in the chat.
I know
before
he did. I
saw
I was about to say that. Or we can go real weird. It's like, it's time for the Philips 3DO to come back.
No, we can leave that one in the trash.
No,
That's
that was
fine.
trash. That was real trash. But it was weird. I'll give it that. The fact that Philips was making a console, that's the weird thing.
Yeah.
Next story comes from Game Ramp. It was kind of everywhere. Blizzard president comments about Diablo 4 coming to Game Pass. Just to paraphrase this, long story short, he said, hell no. Diablo 4 is not coming to Game Pass. I say Yet. What do you think?
I say also yet, only because I have a good chunk of friends that play Diablo, and so I pay attention to a lot of the news. And I just saw that they just pushed out a big update this past week or something like that, and they killed their entire fan base, and the entire fan base has now turned on them and said, "You now made your game garbage."
Oh
So
God.
I can see them now losing money, and they're now going to be like, "All right, it's going to be on Game Pass."
Right. Uh
Yeah.
I just, especially with this next story, we'll just kind of roll this into. This comes from Polygon. Blizzard is bringing PC games to Steam, starting with Overwatch 2. Which for the longest time, Blizzard has had its own launcher, has had BattleNet.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that that's coming to Steam now, um, kind of opens the door for other things to go other places. Um, I guess you'll still need
To
a I
to
guess
to quote a TikTok I saw this past week, it's awesome that Overwatch 2 is now coming to Steam because now everyone can review bomb it and see how bad the reviews really are.
right. You will still need a BattleNet account to play it, which I think is just kind of silly if you're just gonna, I don't know.
Is it going to be like where they put it on Steam, but then when you launch it in Steam, it launches the BattleNet launcher, and so you have to
Right.
launch through the BattleNet? Yeah,
Yeah, like I don't know exactly how that's gonna work, but I mean the president of Blizzard or whoever said that they're not bringing Diablo to Diablo 4. Yeah, you can say that now, but once Microsoft fully owns you, they can tell you to do whatever the fuck they
they,
want.
yeah, they'll be. You can say no all you want, but then they're just going to slap your face with a cool Benjamin, and you're going to be like, all right, fine, whatever.
Or they're gonna fire you and find somebody who's going to say yes.
Yeah, that's a very
like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, they might say that now to play just to like play good with them, but once they own it, they can like kind of like with the exclusivity deals and stuff, they can do whatever the
Mhm.
hell they want. Like it is their
Yeah,
it'll be their intellectual property at that point. So yeah, I don't
yeah.
know. Um Next one, this is directly from Xbox's website too. Xbox is launching new voice reporting feature, empowering players with the option to voice capture and report inappropriate in-game voice chats. Thank you,
No,
thank
no.
you. Well, I mean, for
Oh,
like, we're talking like people are being like racist and real. Like, there was no way
oh,
to report that for a while.
oh.
Um,
I was saying like no because I want people to experience what I experienced back in middle school and high school.
right. We know how toxic chats can get.
I still want to. There's some days where I want to hop into a lobby on Xbox and just have some prepubescent kid tell me why I'm so garbage at video games.
yeah, or like have somebody get like really upset and like start threatening you, like
Yeah.
swear
Hmm.
to God, I know where you live. Like,
My some of my favorite things is watching uh like recaps of kills that people get in Call of Duty, but they have the like the
proximity
kill
chat
mic
on.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that so much.
yeah. I mean, they used to have that back on the 360 where you could like report people for rude behavior and stuff like that. But now they're actually going
Mhm.
as far as like you can clip a section of the chat to like,
That's good.
which
That's good.
I think overall is good. I could see it also it could possibly be abused like the other one, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I see nothing but like good things coming from that. Because you can already do that on PlayStation. You can
Mhm.
report that, so it's kind of about time for them. I'm gonna roll this into the Call of Duty block. Roll this into the Microsoft block because I mean they're gonna own them at this point. So this year's Call of Duty is going to be Modern Warfare 3, which
Mhm.
is a little different because if you know anything about Call of Duty, they've been on this cadence of Sledgehammer, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, Treyarch, Infinity Ward. The last Sledgehammer one was World War II, didn't do too hot. The last Treyarch one was Black Ops Cold War, didn't do too hot. But Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 by Infinity Ward have done very well. So it
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me. I mean, it sucks for that team to have that turnaround. But it doesn't surprise me that the next one is going to be Modern Warfare 3 if that's kind of the one that's selling the best now. What do you think?
Um, I mean, one, sure, yeah, it's selling well, but I don't see the amount of progression that you saw between Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2. I'm going to see a lot of the same arguments of like reused assets.
Yeah.
And people are going to say it's bad because all they did is just remove the 2 and add the 3 now because they gave them a year.
Yeah.
Um
That's my worry too, is like it's that turnaround time. That was how they were able to do the yearly cadence, is they had 3
mhm.
studios that could take their time, and now you're just kind of like forcing them to crunch because like what Modern Warfare 2 came out last year, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. I'll
It's
look it up.
yeah, it's at least been, if not last year, maybe the year before, but that's still not very long. Um
Um October 28th of 2022.
yeah, so last year. So that's good luck. Um
Yeah.
is all I got to
I
say.
hope I hope they get their bag for it.
Um
Not the corporation, like the workers, but
right. And this kind of rolls into it, and kind of goes with what we were talking about. This comes from IGN. Activision confirms that Modern Warfare 2 weapons bundles and operators will carry over into Call of Duty 2023. That's what
you
Activision's officially calling it right now, is Call of Duty 2023, because they haven't officially said that it's Modern Warfare 3. It leaked that it's Modern Warfare 3. Um, but
you okay, I'm looking at these notes and you missed the beginning section of that, and that's the most appalling part of it to me. Due to a Twitter
oh
poll.
yes, it was due to a Twitter poll. People voted like, should it carry over? And of course, people are gonna say yes. Like
That
everything that
is
I purchased.
so that really just
Sorry to bury
burns
the
my
lead there.
fucking biscuit. Oh my god! Due to a Twitter poll? No, no. Imagine if PS6 was coming out and Sony was like, "Hey guys, do you want the PS6 to be backwards compatible? Vote yes, no, or maybe with your verified Twitter account, X account. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course, everyone's gonna vote yes because we want user-friendly abilities.
right.
God, that's so dumb. Just fucking do it already.
Yeah, but the other thing that kind of goes back into like, well, then how much work are you going to put into Modern Warfare 3 if like everything from Modern Warfare 1 and 2 is carry over? Because a lot of the purchases from Modern Warfare 1 carry over to Modern Warfare 2, and then
My
by extension, they're going
here's
to
how
carry to
they do the
3.
review. Here's how they do the review because this is exactly what I'm getting at. Okay, so a guy walks out onto stage. He has a wireless keyboard in hand. Up on the giant monitor, it's just a big Times New Roman font. It just says Modern Warfare 2. He just hits the backspace and then types 3. People are going to lose their shit. But that is the antithesis of what this is just it's just adding a number. They're not adding anything new.
Okay, this might be a hot take, but for me, I feel like it's a lukewarm take. As somebody who used to play Call of Duty tournaments all the time, to the point even after I hated the game, I paid for my Violet's first round of diapers with tournament money that I won in Advanced Warfare. And that was the last Call of Duty tournament I played in, and then I hung it up because I was a dad. Um, Modern Warfare 3 fucking sucked.
Okay.
It was bad. It was
Okay.
not good.
Listen. I know I'm the guest co-host today, but watch your fucking tone.
Modern Warfare 1, great. Modern Warfare 2, great. Black Ops 1 and 2, great. Modern Warfare 3, trash.
Whoa.
Garbage.
Okay. Listen, I've played them all. Unfortunately, I didn't have an Xbox 360 until towards the end of its lifespan when Modern Warfare 3 was released. And so that was the first one I owned. I played all the other ones. I agree. Those ones are great. But I have a special place in my heart because of the amount of hours I put into that.
Oh,
I barely played online. My favorite part was the endless wave mode against like other like operatives. That was my favorite bit.
Oh yeah. Again, played in tournaments. I played an uncomfortable amount of that game too much in that game, prestige too much in that game, and still hated it. I felt like the writing was lackluster in the story. Like I felt like Modern Warfare 1 and 2's campaign
Oh
were good.
boy,
Yeah, I'm
here
getting
we
into it.
go.
I'm
No, I'm
getting
just
into it.
kidding.
Writing was lackluster. It went everywhere where you expected it to go. And it just no. Like so I'm sitting here like, who's asking for Modern Warfare 3? Maybe I'm an outlier. Like I'm just like,
But here's the thing, it's not
it's
at
not for me.
least judging by like okay, so I got the new re-release Modern Warfare 1 when it came out like 4 or 5 years ago. And I played it. Um it's not the original Modern Warfare 1. It's like a retelling.
Right.
It's a different story. And so I'm sure this is just a different story, same name kind of like aspect. I don't know where I was going this. I lost it, but
I'm just like, I don't know. Because I also heard that the campaign in Modern Warfare 2 was just the reboot Modern Warfare 2 was just all right. Where the first one was really good. The first reboot was really good, but the second was just all right.
oh, the first one was dark.
Yeah.
It made me feel very uncomfortable at times.
So I guess we'll just have to see. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an a-hole when it comes to Call of Duty now, but and then Ghosts. Let's
I
not
think it's
talk
safe
about
to
Call of Duty Ghosts.
I think it's
Ooh.
safe to say that you and I have kind of moved past the whole FPS genre in general.
Yeah, the only real
Yeah.
FPS that I still like to play is Doom. And even that last Doom, Doom Eternal, I was kind of on. Dude, no? Okay, you want to get Doom 2016? The first one was great.
Oh yeah, no, it was
The
fantastic.
first one, the reboot was great. It straddled that line between taking itself too seriously and being fucking Doom, not taking
I'm
itself
I'm
seriously.
I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna buy myself a pair of boxing gloves. So when we have these moments on here, when I guest spot is I'm just gonna pull them up and I'm just gonna be sitting here in boxing gloves.
Doom Eternal was, I'm not gonna say terrible. It was all right. I just felt like that campaign took itself way too fucking seriously. Where like the first one was like that
Okay.
perfect, like straddled the line.
Okay.
Also, I want Quake to come back. Where's Quake?
Dead.
I know it is dead.
Yeah.
Technically owned by Microsoft now because they own Bethesda, who
Didn't
owns
they
id,
try to release it like within the last few years?
and it plays phenomenal. But not enough people paid attention
But the
because
player
it's
base
Quake.
the player base is dead. No one wanted to play it anymore.
It's pretty much me and 12 other people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it's so good. Bring back Quake. And then I think this is the last of the Microsoft block. This comes from
Thank
Video Games
Christ.
Chronicle. Players flock to classic Call of Duty games after Xbox matchmaking fix. So they fixed matchmaking to a bunch of old Xbox 360 games to
What?
where like I was even talking to my cousin about this. Shout out to my cousin Jackson. We were talking about this family reunion. He was like, "Oh, dude, I was playing Black Ops 1 and they had 250,000 people playing on the Xbox 360 because they fixed their matchmaking."
That's insane.
Modern Warfare 3, the original, had over 7,000 active players working in matchmaking again.
What?
So the funny thing is how this all came about.
Okay.
Shadowrun, old Xbox 360 game that had multiplayer in it.
Shadow.
An update came out, got pushed out, and it broke that multiplayer. And then the fans of that community actually went to Microsoft and said, "Hey, you broke like one of our favorite games. Could you please fix this?" That fix actually fixed all these other games. And
That's insane.
people have actually been saying that on Twitter and in other articles that I've read, saying that it's actually better than it was originally.
What?
And these are the current
Crazy.
These are the current ones that work, and it goes so far back. Call of Duty 2. 2005's Call of Duty 2 now works. Call of Duty 3 works. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare works. Call of Duty World at War works. Modern Warfare 2 works. Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, Ghosts, and Advanced Warfare now all work like they like the servers never went down.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, that's really cool considering that like it kind of sucks the way that games are now that you can't just like play a game forever in perpetuity because the server shut down, you're fucked. Like you keep playing the campaign, but like
Hmm.
a huge chunk of the game that people flock to wouldn't work. Um, but now it's like with this fix, it just like I said, my cousin was super excited because he loves those older Call of Duties. Um,
Hmm.
and like I said, he was playing. He's like, he told me I was like, how many people? And he showed me. He's like, here's my screenshot. 200. It was like 256,000 and some change. Like people just playing,
That's
and it's just
awesome.
nuts. And I'm like, that's cool that they did not have to do that work, and they did. Um, this also could be just them trying to like grease the wheels a little bit. Like, look at us, we're friendly Microsoft. But so I'm taking it a little bit with a grain of salt. But hey, good on them. They did something good came out of this.
Mhm.
And it's cool that like they listened to a community from another game. Like they were like, hey, please fix this, and they did.
That's
Um,
cool. That's really cool.
next,
Also,
oh, go ahead.
what studio is pushing out updates for a game that pretty much came out 15, 20 years ago?
I was still in high school then. I
Yeah.
was in that was my senior year, or my
Like I
or the
looked
end.
this
It was
game
either
up
the
and I
end of
was
my
like,
junior or beginning of senior year. Yeah,
I just looked this game up and I was like, I don't think I've ever heard of this game.
Shadowrun.
Yeah.
Um, Another hot take. It's not a very good game. Um, to be honest,
Mm,
but it has its
doesn't look
fans. It has its fans. It had kind of a cool grappling hook, kind of. Um,
it.
and a zip line system. They've gotten better since then, but I mean, hey, whatever. Power to you. Um,
Hmm.
Next story, and we're out of the Microsoft block.
Oh
Yay!
yeah, I can breathe.
Yeah. Actually, I'll play the game sound effect again. We're out of it. Next one comes from IGN, and this was kind of a leak. Um, Need for Speed Most Wanted remake is real and is coming in 2024, claims voice actor Simone Bailey. Now,
Okay.
if you've ever played Need for Speed, I would argue that Need for Speed Most Wanted was probably the last good Need for Speed. Um, and I'm talking the original Need for Speed Most Wanted, which I believe, yep, came out in 2005. Not the
Mm.
one that came out in like, I think they rebooted the name in like 2013 and it was garbage. Um,
Yeah, I remember that one.
it was the first game to make you care about people in a Need for Speed game. Um, it had like a full blown campaign with characters. Um, it had the actors like it had real actors mixed in with an animated background. So it had like this really cool art style. The
Mm.
story wasn't good. It was good in the
Mhm.
fact that it was cheesy as fuck. That's why I liked it. Like, I will just say this. One of the characters in him, his name is Razor Callahan.
Immediately my favorite character.
Yeah, yes. I was like, bring back. I was like, please, whoever played. And Razor Callahan, his whole thing in that game was every time he was on screen, he was just chewing the fuck up out of the scenery, like hamming it up, overacting the shit out of it. So I'm sitting here like, can they bring back Razor Callahan in 2024? In the year of our Lord 2024, I feel Razor Callahan is something that we need.
Hold up, hold up. Let me look something up for you. Razor Callahan.
Yep.
There we go. Voice actor Derek Hamilton.
Derek
Let's see what
Hamilton.
he's been up to. Let's see what he's been up to.
I think he's had some bit
Uh,
roles.
he's got a few things here and there.
Yeah, that game
But
was
he's still, I can see him coming back.
That game was, like I said, it wasn't a great story. People remember it for how fucking serious that studio took that story, but how laughably cheesy and hilarious that story was. Like,
Hmm.
you think Fast and the Furious has gotten like ridiculously cheesy? Nah, man. Give me some Razor Callahan and like, um, but yeah, I'm kind of excited because if they give it the true like 2005 treatment, because you got to
Hmm.
imagine the writing in 2000, the writing standards in 2005.
Yeah, yeah.
It made for
We a lot of cheese.
it made for some very funny moments where I was playing that game. I'm pretty sure with my friend Zach again, and we were just dying, like, just every time, like, because it was like they were taking it so seriously, and I wasn't. Like, I was like, "This is stupid, but it's beautiful, and I love it. Don't you love it?" Like, it was just I don't have any other words except, "Wow." Like, bring back as long as you bring back Razor Callahan, that's it. Um, but the tweet was deleted later on. So, um
Yeah, I'm sure the voice actor got a very stern talking to, because NDAs are not good to break.
Yeah, and this happens a lot with actors in this industry where they
Hmm.
just like don't know how the games industry works a little bit, and they're just like, "Hey, I'm working on this." Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I did you ever play Need for Speed at all growing up? Were you into?
See, I was going to get into that. My Need for Speed was Need for Speed Underground.
Okay, yeah, so that came before Most Wanted. So
Yes, yes, it did.
Underground and
2003, I
yep,
think.
Underground
Yeah.
2, and then I believe Most Wanted came after those. It was either Carbon or Most
Hmm.
Wanted that came after those. But like I said, I think Most Wanted was the last one because I'm not kidding you. The entire like PS4, Xbox One generation, they did not have a single good Need for Speed game. They kept coming out with Need for Speed
No.
games. Like Hot Pursuit was really bad. Then there was just one that they just called Need for Speed. It was real bad. Like they
I
just
think I had Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 on the original PlayStation. The
yeah
OG one.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah. That was the thing is like they couldn't even come up with new titles.
You know what they should bring back? I never actually sat down and like seriously played the game. Shout outs to my old friend Ross who used to play this game with me. Midnight Club. The only thing we would do is we'd play this little mini game that we made up for ourselves called uh the the Catabus Marauders or something like that. And we would get the Marauder, which was basically just the taxi with the scoop on the front, and we would drive around and try to find any Catabus we could and just tip them over.
So my favorite racing game is now dead. And that's Burnout. I
Oh,
That is
burnout.
my all-time favorite
Oh.
arcadey racing game because I kind of throw Need for Speed in that category versus like Forza and your Gran Turismos are more like your sim racing games.
Mhm.
I love Burnout Paradise is still such an amazing game. Uh, I love takedown races. Those are like my
Mhm.
favorite. Just
Mhm.
race until you knock every other car out of the race. Like that is so much fun. Um, please bring back Burnout. Why don't we stop with
Please.
Need? Like that was the thing. EA bought Criterion and put them on Need for Speed. And then we haven't had good Need for Speeds. Let them make a Burnout. Let them
Just do
make a
it.
Burnout.
Allow me to was it burnout that you shoot your driver out of the windshield?
I think there
Or
was a
was that
mode. I think there was a mode that you could do that.
was that burnout?
I know there was a mode in Burnout that was just like a damage mode where you would just try to like fling your car into
I There
traffic and
was
try to get
that,
as
yeah.
many like things to crash as you could. Um
There was one, I don't know if it was burnout. It was a game where you basically played darts, but you would drive your car up a ramp and then like eject yourself to hit a dartboard.
Sounds real familiar. I feel
Yeah,
like
and it was on the PS2. Uh Anyway, keep going. I'll
yeah.
look it up if I shout it out. If I find out, I'll shout it out.
Um but yeah, I want another Burnout so bad. That's all I want with my
Mhm.
life. Um Next story is kind of a small one. It comes from uh wow, can't read today. It's on Ubisoft's website too, so I'll just say that. Assassin's Creed Codename Jade is getting a closed beta. And it looks like the beta
Oh,
date.
flat out. Sorry,
Oh yeah,
I found
flat
it.
out.
It's flat out. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yep, okay. Um God, that was a good game. Um
yeah.
so August 3rd, my dad's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Dad.
Uh they're coming. Codename Jade is their mobile game, which is set in China. But they are claiming it is going to play like a full-fledged Assassin's Creed game on your phone. Um, what do you think?
No. Ow.
How?
Ow. Ow.
Yeah.
Like, to me, mobile games are gotcha games.
Yeah.
The occasional card game, but gotcha. Like, I play Yu-Gi-Oh on my phone, but like,
Right.
play Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, and also, how well is that gonna play on a phone?
Do you think it's gonna be like, what's the one? It's the one that they put on TikTok all the time that they put the Reddit reads on overlaid over.
I know what you're
It's
talking about,
the
but I can't remember the name of
the
it.
Subway Runners.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think it's gonna be like Subway Runners, but it's gonna be Assassin's Creed?
I have no idea.
If
I
that
could
happens, goodbye
a
Ubisoft.
little part of me almost signed up for the closed beta, and then I remembered it was Assassin's Creed, and I haven't liked that franchise since like 4, and I
Mm,
didn't even like 3.
mhm,
So, 1 is still my favorite. I'm an outlier in that, but because I like the weird like Templars versus like I liked all that crap, and they kind of like
mhm.
got away from that. Like now it's kind of like in the background.
Yeah.
Um, Next story. Baldur's Gate 3 apparently has 17,000 endings, which I said parentheses, no thank you. This comes from GameSpot, and I will clarify. Um, what they actually said was there are around 17,000 variations on the game's ending.
There it is.
Um,
There it is.
but still, what?
Here's the thing. Just to set you a little bit more at ease, considering like you're not really like a Dungeons and Dragons player that much, if at all. I can see this just being variations of different teams because it's a
Okay.
4-player game.
That makes sense.
And
Okay.
when you have the ability of playing like upwards of like 12 different classes with 4 players, plus there's like 12 different races you can pick on, and there's tons of different variations for some of those races, especially like Dragonborn. Dragonborns are probably the most like specific when it comes to different races, because depending on the color depends on which breath damage you do, like water, fire, ice, stuff like that. I'm sure that's what they're meaning. You can have 17,000 different endings depending on your team makeup.
Okay.
But it's not like they physically wrote 17,000 different endings.
Jesus Christ. Or did they? The game's not technically out yet. Maybe that's why it took so long.
True.
And the next story kind of piggybacking about on this. Have you seen this trailer?
No, I haven't watched a whole lot of video game trailers recently.
So this comes from Polygon. Why the Baldur's Gate 3 bear sex scene reveal hit so hard? Long story short, in the trailer, it showed a druid, and I believe, let's see, let me just read this.
I'm doing just a Google search, and I just typed in Baldur's Gate 3 trailer, and the second option is Baldur's Gate 3 trailer bear.
Yeah. It says, by now, it's likely you've seen some hype around Baldur's Gate 3, but one particular hotspot of discourse hasn't been related to the game's combat or conversation mechanics. Instead, gamers were delighted when Larian Studios revealed that you could romance, looks like Halsin the Druid while he's in bear form. Yeah, they basically alluded that you could fuck him while he was in the bear form.
I mean, if your intelligence score is high enough, yeah, you can talk while you're in bear mode, but I mean, listen.
Hey, I don't kink shame.
I'm watching it right now.
I watched it at work and I was like,
this is one of those things, because like I propped my phone up on my keyboard drawer, and this is one of the things where I would just start pushing my keyboard drawer underneath my desk.
yeah.
Why is this squirrel watching?
Well, look, we don't kink shame on this podcast. If you're into what you're into, but mighty bold of them to put that in a trailer, I will say.
He was so appalled he dropped his nut. You can take that whichever way you want to.
Yeah. I don't really have much more to say about that. I literally wrote Baldur's Gate 3 bear sex. That is all in the note.
I think that's a little clickbaity because this whole time I've been seeing it, I'm like, are we just going to the forest and finding the nearest bear? But no, it's literally just because it's a druid. It's
Yeah,
a
a
it's
druid.
a it's a wild shaped druid, but that's still funny as hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna pick up this game to be honest.
Yeah, I'm more tempted now. That's for sure.
It's not so much that; it's more of I am like a D&D player, so I want to pick it up just so I can mess around.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Hey, I played the original Baldur's Gate games on PS2, so I was always a fan of them. The games anyway.
hmm Let's see what. Sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
No, I wanted to see what because again I'm really bad. I'm not looking up anything, and I want to see what classes they had.
Go for it.
So they got cleric. Oh my, yeah, of course they have 17,000 different endings. Okay, so I want to get a little nerdy for you and just explain this. So
Okay.
you have classes, right? Like you have your cleric, your fighter, your ranger, your rogue, stuff like that. You also have subclasses for each of them, and they all basically it's like a specialization in something. Some of these have upwards of like 10 different subclasses, which makes them fundamentally like different when it comes to play style. Like just playing actual like D&D, um like my friends and I we've played like similar characters. Like I've played a monk, uh one of my friends and I both played monks, but we played two different kinds of monks and they just play drastically different from each other. So yeah, I can see 17,000 different variations of an ending.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
Classes and subclasses. Um,
Hey Chase, you want to play this with me?
I'm tempted, dude. Trust me. I've been following this for a little bit. So I'm very
I
tempted.
like I want to play this game, but the downside is it's gonna feel like a D&D campaign, and it's only good when you play with friends.
Right, right. Yeah, that was the same thing. The other Baldur's Gate games, the one that I had on PlayStation 2, the original Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance.
hmm
I played with my friend. Again, I've been shouting him a lot on this, but I played with my best friend Zach. So
Yeah.
like, because you could play as, I think in that game you could only play. I think it didn't even have classes. I think it just had races. You could only play as a human, a dwarf, and an elf, and then just depending on what you
hmm
equipped, you went with. It's been a long time since I played that game. Um, People that are PS5 shopping are gonna like this next little story. And this comes from GameSpot. A PS5 price cut coming soon for a limited time. Um,
Oh, that's
and
pretty cool.
according to this article, it says in the US, the PS5 will reportedly see a temporary price cut of $50, bringing the standard disc-based system down from 500 to 450. In Germany, it will bring it down to looks like 75 euro, bringing it down to 480. In Great Britain, it'll bring it down to 405 from
Hmm.
480. So, if you're looking to get a PS5 anytime soon, wait for that price drop, I would say. Um, that was
Yeah.
just a kind of small story, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm just gonna say not surprised only because like working in retail, I've noticed there's a lot more PS5s on the shelves now, and no one's really picking them up right now.
Well, and I didn't include this story in here because a lot of it is just rumblings and a lot of like the leaks, emails, but I hate to say it, but there's rumors of a PS5 Slim next year and a Pro right
Mhm.
behind it.
We did talk about
We
that
talked
last
about it this
week.
week, but I've been seeing more stories getting more concrete. Like I saw
Ooh.
something, I can't remember where, but I was floating around on Twitter that like dev kits are going to be going out soon for the PS5 Pro,
Okay.
which fucking sucks. Because I feel like this generation still hasn't like really even started because we had that like
Not really.
slow start. And again,
Well, I will push back a little bit on that. It's kind of started, but if you're picturing that like right foot's PS5 and Xbox is left foot, uh the right foot's grounded. The left foot's still kind of hanging off the cliff a little bit.
right. Well, and the other thing too is like last time around, the half step consoles made sense because the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One launched and then 4K TVs took off. And
Yeah.
those consoles could not take advantage of that. So it
Mhm.
made sense for the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X because
They
they
also had a
wanted to have
lot of
some.
internal issues too that got fixed with those Pro
Yeah.
copies.
With this, I don't see that because like the only thing that I mean, the PlayStation 5 can already technically do 8K and can do up to
Mhm.
120 frames. Now there isn't a whole lot of games that support that yet, but it can do it. So what is a Pro gonna really offer me? And also, how many people have 8K TVs yet?
You
Not as
think
many.
not many.
Not
There's
as
not a
many.
whole
Not
lot
as
out
many of
there.
people that jumped on the 4K bandwagon. Um,
Mhm.
Also HDR, that's already included. The one thing that I've seen in the leaks is like they're gonna have improved 4K 60 frames a second. Um,
That was the point I was gonna
that
make.
would be the only thing, but even then,
I can't warrant the price of what could be a Pro and maybe be $150 more than the PS5
unless they
is.
do it the same way that they did with the PS4 Pro last time, where they dropped the price the original $100 and then slot in the Pro at the same price. That's the only way I
Okay.
could see them doing it. But even then, I feel with like I said, the slow adoption rate of 8K TVs right now, I don't really see
Mhm.
the warrant. Like I my monitor maxes out at 4K, but I play everything in 1440 because I can get
Mhm.
better frames that way and it looks fine. Like I don't notice that much of a difference between 4K and 1440 or even 1080. Like you really can't see that. HDR and the frame rate was the big leap forward last time and now we already have that stock in these things. So, eh, I don't know. It's going to I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but um that's a tough pill to swallow for me.
Yeah.
Next story, got me hyped and then got you hyped when I texted it to you. John Cena
Yeah.
is coming to Mortal Kombat. So, so this comes from Polygon, but it was kind of everywhere. It was a first look at Homelander and Peacemaker in Mortal Kombat 1. They basically announced their first slew of DLC fighters, which is going to include Homelander from The Boys, Peacemaker, and it looks like Omni Man is going to be in it
Yes.
as well as Quan Chi, Ermac, and Takeda. I was a huge Ermac player in that trilogy, so I'm really excited. What do you think of that announcement?
Okay, so listen, you kind of had me a little bit with Peacemaker. I was kind of thinking about it, walking my way into watching Barbie, but I walked out, and that's when I saw that they also announced Omni Man and Homelander. And listen, I know we're all a little superheroed out. At least most of us are. I'm reaching that part now where like I'm just not caring. But if anything from me will get the light of day superhero wise, it's still Invincible and The Boys because they're phenomenal. And so I'm so excited that they're putting in Omni Man and Homelander.
I just hope they get. I mean, they got his likeness. Get John Cena to voice.
Oh, he would be down.
Like I just like I texted you this I think, and I texted some of my friends. I texted my friends Zach and Katie. Um, I was like, this is the right kind of stupid. I want to commit a fatality on John Cena, and then I want to be not that I hate John Cena. I love John Cena. I just think that's the right kind of stupid. And also I want to like have a fatality where like it's John Cena just like putting a bullet in Liu Kang's head or something. Like
Yeah.
that would be
Oh,
hilarious.
no, he's got to use. Did you watch Peacemaker?
No, I haven't. So,
Okay. So, not really like us. I'm sure you're not going to watch it. In the show, he has different helmets that do different stuff.
uh-huh.
And I want them to incorporate that. Like he has one, I can't remember what they called, but it was basically like he said a word and he became a missile, basically.
Okay. That would be
Yeah.
that could make yeah, you could totally roll that into fatalities. Like have him
Yeah.
swap out a helmet and turn into whatever he's going to turn into and yeah. Yeah. See,
Mm-hmm,
I'm liking this
mm-hmm.
already. And MK has never I feel MK is never disappointed with their DLC. Like in MK9, it was all like serial killers, like they added Jason and Freddy Krueger and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then like in the last one it was like Terminator and like it like I bravo. Perfect. Like, that's all I gotta say. Like, that's just the right. I, you know, what would be fun, real funny, is if they had, because they are always known for having alternate attires. What
Mhm.
if they just had like the John Cena attire from WWE just in that game?
That would be really cool.
Be hilarious. Like, he
Um,
still does all the Peacemaker moves, but he's just skinned like normal John Cena.
Speaking about different skins, going back to the helmets thing, each helmet is different than the last, like design wise. They gotta do that for the different skins.
Okay. Yep.
Then it's worth it for me.
Hmm. Yep. But yeah, MK doing the right kind of stupid, and I love it. Like,
Hmm.
um, last couple stories here. This comes from Kotaku. New laws might require gaming handhelds to have replaceable batteries. The European Union has dropped new regulations demanding that future consumer tech products, including gaming handhelds like the successors to the Nintendo Switch, Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck, have replaceable user batteries by 2027. Yes.
No.
No.
Oh,
Yes. I'm happy about it.
depends.
Okay. Well, let me
Depends.
hear.
Here's what I'll say: if they can, if they do it the way of like, I'm gonna say old school to cell phones, but obviously it's gonna be a lot better. Where it's like it's just a giant battery you can eject from the back. Here's my only gripe with it: one, if it's just like a little toggle and then the battery just pops off, that thing's gonna wear down and it's gonna be. We all had a Game Boy Color in the past, so we had the tape onto the back of the system, so our double A's didn't pop out. But that's the other thing is I don't want anyone to get lazy and penny pinch, and then we're starting to pump in like double A's and C and D batteries into our handhelds again.
Right. My whole thing with it is like, okay, so like the Switch has like a literally a glued in battery. Like, you cannot take it
Mm-hmm.
out. So
Right.
when that battery finally wears out, you're fucked. Like, your solution is go buy a new Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're not talking about the ones that are out now. Like, they want future companies, also that just like ends with like an entire like Switch in a landfill eventually, because it's like
Yeah.
bricked. So if it needs to be easy. Like, it can't be
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, we're gonna have to take the entire Switch apart and yada yada. No. I feel like going forward, these console manufacturers, and this should be with cell phone manufacturers too. I would even go as far as to say, and I agreed with this, the Next Lander podcast brought this up, controllers. I say that as
Yeah.
the PS5 battery life in their controllers is fucking garbage and only gets worse. Let me
Mm-hmm.
swap the battery out in that thing instead of buying a whole new fucking controller. Like, I
Yeah.
it
Here's yeah. So I guess that like that was one thing that I did gripe about a lot when the new consoles were announced, was the fact that PS5 you could charge natively as soon as you got the controller, but the Xbox controllers can still run on AA batteries, and
Mhm.
that's how they are when they come out of the box. If they just change it, they marry the two, but they have it to where it is a just a Sony giant brick that you just put on the back of it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
But allow it to be charged by plugging it in.
right. Well, and that's the other thing too, is like rechargeable batteries just wear down over time. They always wear down over
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Um,
Here's the thing: I will gladly pay more. Like, say, Super Switch releases next year, figuratively speaking, and say they now have to answer to the UK's rule where they have to put in replaceable batteries. I don't mind paying, I would say $50 more if you package it with an extra battery.
yeah, yeah. And that's the other thing I was thinking too. I was like, charge
Have one on deck
like
always.
30 to $50 depending on what the battery goes to for a replaceable
Mhm.
battery. And like I said, it's just like it's less waste, like, at the end of the day, because
Yeah.
once the batteries are shot, I mean, at least with the Switch, you can always play it docked. Um,
Hmm.
but that's like, I have a launch Switch still, and I know the battery life in that's probably not that great. Um, so that's, I could see your argument though, for sure.
Yeah.
That was part of the reason why when the new PlayStation 5 Elite controller, I know it's not called the Elite controller, Edge controller. That's why I didn't get that, because they said it had all these features in it, and the one that I was looking for was improved battery life. That wasn't
And it
mentioned
didn't.
anywhere. Nope. The PS5 controller already, the PS4 controllers didn't have great battery life. PS5 controllers, I feel, don't have a great battery life either. So, yeah.
I mean, if anyone who watches my streams know that there's been a couple times where I've had to like stop and plug in my controller while I was mid
And swap
playing.
one out. Yeah. Like, that's what I do. I
Yeah.
always have one charging and then one that's not charging, and swapping them out. So, yeah. Last two stories that I have, and then you have one, and then we have like a kind of a fun one for the very end. This comes from Video Games Chronicle. UK supermarket Tesco is to stop selling physical games. They cite the big move towards digital in the UK. Not too surprising, but also kind of sucks at the same time.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to our conversation last week where we're talking about games preservation. Like, I feel like this is just even more of an incentive for companies to not allow physical copies to be made. And then we're going to lose access to those games whenever the company just feels like they don't want us to.
Well, yeah, and like look at things like Alan Wake 2 is digital only. And that's a huge game. That's a pretty big game. And it's gonna. I now there's rumors that they might partner with somebody to do a limited like retail release, but
so stupid.
It hasn't been confirmed yet or anything. It does save the companies money to not worry about having to print discs or whatnot, but when retailers and start cutting, like, and Tesco is like equivalent to like a Target over there, so that kind of gives me worry that like how long is that before we see like a Target or a Walmart follow suit? Because I've seen at least not necessarily Target, but like our local area, like Meyer, I've seen that game section shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink. Target's has kind of stayed about the same. Walmart's has kind of stayed about the same because they're Target and Walmart. They make a lot more money. But like that's one that I've noticed where how long before that catches up to things like Target and Walmart to where they're like, we're spending a lot of money for these games and not seeing them sell.
I will say probably not, just because I hate to get political, but we do live in a very capitalistic country and we like our material goods. We're going to pump them out here regardless.
True. The only thing I could see is like, what if they stopped selling those and just pushed like gift cards more, like digital gift cards more? I could see that.
Maybe I do know,
or like, even digital vouchers for games. You can go to GameStop and get a digital voucher for a game instead of a disc if you really want to.
At Target that's just like, it's just a bunch of cards that shows you the title, and all you do is just scratch off on the back to find the code, and that's it.
Yeah. So doesn't surprise me, but it just still kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And then our last story that we had that we both stood up in the middle of the week at work, and shout out to good friend at our work, Jen, who is, we both said, cautiously optimistic. This comes from The Verge, because I found a different source that is directly from The Verge, but it was all over Twitter.
Ooh.
Neopets is coming back, baby.
Actually, technically, it's back.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because didn't they actually? Yeah, July 20th. We're at July 23rd.
Was Friday. Yeah. Or no, Thursday.
Yeah. The new website will launch, it says, according to The Verge, will launch on July 20th and will serve as a one-stop shop for all brand announcements, links to our different games and products, and repository of Neopets articles and related links, and anything else Neopian you can think of. And this comes directly from TNT, who is working on Neopets. I'm excited. I played way too much Neopets back in the day.
Neopets was my Webkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big ones that I played were Neopets, Adventure Quest, and there was another one.
Oh my god! Sorry, I wanted to see what it looked like. They got all new designs for the Neopets.
Did you find the article that I'm reading right now, the Verge one?
No. I'm just on the Neopets.com.
Oh, okay.
they're like, so like our Neopets were like those 2D, I don't want to say sprites, but like the 2D drawings of them. They got 3D renders of these now.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Yeah, and they look good.
I'm actually
And
clicking.
you don't even have to go far at all. Just
I'm
go
clicking the
to
link right now.
neopets.com. Sorry to all of our like our audio watchers, but like,
Okay, so this is the
yeah,
first time I'm looking at this website. Holy shit.
yeah.
Like I see the old art too, like but then
Mm-hmm.
okay. Well, Jen, they're not using Flash. If they're animating them like that. Nice. Well, I'm gonna sign up tonight.
I'm probably gonna do the same once we get off this.
Damn. Well,
Honestly, I'm seeing that there's a mobile game. I might download that just to check it out.
damn
Neopets
it.
Island Builders.
God damn it. I already have too much shit that I'm playing. And now I'm gonna be playing Neopets.
That's a bathroom game for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was technically the last news story that I had, but you had one
I
more
had a
little
gripe.
thing, and it's a gripe. And then I have one
It's a
thing at the end
gripe.
that'll be kind of fun. But
It's an annoyance. So we saw Spider-Man 2. We got a new trailer this past week because of Comic-Con. Great. Giant hoopla about it. Game looks phenomenal. The new PS5 that they're making for it looks amazing. I just can't sink another $500 into a console I already have.
yep.
But my biggest annoyance is even though this is called Spider-Man 2, we've technically had 3 different versions of a Spider-Man for this game. Peter Parker. I'm not talking about Miles Morales. Miles Morales is his own separate character, and nothing's changed for him. But tell me why, out of Spider-Man, Spider-Man Remastered, and then Spider-Man 2, each one of their faces are a different model.
Okay, so that's what you were getting at. I was curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I like when they remastered it, they made it like a low rent Tom Holland. They were trying to make it look kind of like Tom Holland, but not
I
really.
hated it.
So did
I hate
I.
it. Keep the original 2018 Spider-Man face. I loved it. I think it was a new, fresh take on the character. They weren't trying to like capitalize on anything else. It was a brand new story, separate from everything else. And now this new one looks like when he was a child, he bit people on the playground. Like I'm so so annoyed. And like the worst part is, obviously between 2018 and then remastered, they tried to like make it look like blend the space between game and Tom Holland. But then this new one, even though this game only takes place 7 months post the Miles Morales game, if they're trying to go for like we aged him up, this doesn't look like him. It doesn't even look like an aged up version. He's still a college. He was like at the end of his college years in Spider-Man 2018.
Right.
And Miles Morales took place like what, mere months after that game?
Right, yeah, he was like on vacation. Wasn't the story pretty much that Peter Parker was like on vacation or studying abroad or something like that?
Yeah, he was on vacation. The vacation he mentioned the whole time that he was going to go on in the original events of Spider-Man. He goes on vacation. Miles Morales, it takes place in the winter. If you want to call it a Christmas story, it's a Christmas story, but it has nothing to do with Christmas. And then this one has taken place 7 months afterwards. I don't even want to say it's a year post 2018 Spider-Man. Why a different face?
I don't know. I really didn't understand why they did it with the first one, like or the first time they changed it, and now they're doing it again. Like just pick one. Just pick one and stick with it at this point.
They changed Mary Jane's face too.
What? Oh my god. What are you doing?
Hers is a lot more subtle, but it's still a change. Miles Morales, I would say his is probably warranted because he is technically someone who in that time frame would age up a little bit because he's like freshly out of high school going into college. Like he's still growing a little bit. And so like he has a little bit more of a mature look on his face. But like I don't think Peter Parker should have had it, or Mary Jane for that matter.
Stop trying to make everything the MCU. The MCU is great for what it is. We don't need low rent Tom Holland to Like
Does he look like low rent Tom Holland?
it's worse than low rent Tom Holland.
Yeah,
Like
again, he looks like he bit kids in the playground.
he looks like he'll give me rabies.
All right, that was my gripe.
All right. Well, we'll end this on a little bit of a happy note.
Yeah.
July 15th marked the 40th anniversary of the Nintendo Famicom, or
Woo!
better known to us as the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, the Nintendo Entertainment System wouldn't come for a couple more years to the US, so I think the 40th
Mm.
anniversary might be like still a year or two off for us. But in Japan, it celebrated its 40th anniversary. Um, have you actually ever seen what a Famicom looks like?
Oh yeah, 100%.
The weird top loader and the controllers had
I
the
would have
port
loved
on the
it.
side.
I would have
Looked
loved
great.
having
The
that.
red
Yeah.
and like red and white color scheme.
Well, now it's kind of like
A
yellow.
yellowish, yeah,
Yeah,
a sun
but it's
bleached
still
yellow.
awesome. It still goes
Yeah.
great together.
Um, a lot of people I think don't realize how big of a deal that really is because Nintendo really brought the video games industry back.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if you know when I was studying game design, we literally had a section in my game design school that called the Great Video Game Crash between what was it, 82 and 85, between Christmas of 82 and Christmas of 85. Doesn't seem like that long, but
Mhm.
it got to the point to where like
Thanks, ET.
the Atari 2600, yeah, the Atari 2600 wouldn't iterate and just kept pumping out crap. Nobody wanted
Mhm.
to like it had its short run of putting out really good games, and the Atari 2600 came out in 77. And then they made another one later, but it was like after it was like way too late. And it got to the point to where retailers literally lost faith in the games industry. Like they're like
But
video
it's
games,
also
it was a
like
fad.
the prices were obnoxious. It was like
Uh-huh.
$1,000.
Yeah. The prices got out of
Then
control.
money.
Yeah. The prices got out of control. Everybody started trying to dip their toe into it. Nobody could figure it out. And it took Nintendo to come along and kind of prove that no, this is so. And even when the NES finally made it over here, it took a little
Mhm.
bit to catch on because they had to show like, look, it's selling well in Japan, but even in the United States, people are like, okay, that's Japan. Like, doesn't mean it's gonna sell
Mhm.
well here. We want Slinkies, we want Koosh balls, we want like, let's move on.
Whackers.
We want yeah, yeah, let's move on. But Nintendo did the work to be like, no, like they went to retailers and be like, no, we have an idea. We have the marketing, we have this, we have that. And it saved the game. It brought the games industry back because, like I said,
Mhm.
a lot of people don't think about that. But imagine Christmas between 82 and 85, you just couldn't buy video games because nobody
Mhm.
wanted them. Nobody wanted to touch them. It was like shit that would sit on your shelf in a store and just be a waste of your money to
If
sit
I
there.
remember correctly, too, some of those games back then were going between $70 to $100 of that time's money. But I'm not adjusting for inflation. Like literally, catalogs were listing them, I believe, for $70 to $100 per cartridge.
Yeah, it was getting ridiculously out of control. And like I said, then that Nintendo console lasted until the early 90s. It took them until the early 90s before they put out the Super Nintendo. And
Hmm.
that got Sega to get into the game with the Sega Master System, and then eventually the Sega Genesis, the Mega Drive, which was called the Mega Drive in Europe. I don't know why they were doing two different names. Um, but
Oh, first, I want to correct myself, and I'm really sorry. They were $20 to $30 back then, which would be $100 to $120 today.
right, there was no like
So I was wrong.
standardized pricing. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So the fact that Nintendo was able to like convince all these retailers, these cigar chomping assholes, they're like, I don't want to do this, to actually give a shit about games again. We wouldn't be sitting here if that never happened.
No.
We would be having a podcast about dirt. I don't know.
We would basically be recreating the events of Footloose, but it would be about going to these old down mom and pop arcades that are still trying to survive.
Yeah, exactly. If the arcades would even still be around. Like, I would argue that if
No.
Nintendo didn't ever come back, that arcades would have went out of business way faster than what they did. Um,
Oh yeah, no. I mean, like I'm literally meaning like going to an arcade to convince people that video games are good by playing old school Donkey Kong and Pac Man.
right,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome that, happy 40th, Nintendo. Happy 40th,
Happy 40th. Happy
Famicom.
40th.
Um,
Even
it-
though you're like over 100 years old.
yeah, technically.
Yeah.
Because yeah, they were making card games and shit before that, weren't they?
Yep.
Yep. I
Hmm.
remember I had to do, I was digging back into
I
my
think
games.
they. I think they Nintendo was. I don't want to. I don't.
I think I want to say
I
it was late 1800s even.
think it was 1880s.
Yeah.
Year Nintendo was founded 1889. Yep.
Wow. So yeah, that is a long time.
Mm.
But yeah, that's a podcast. We did it. We got another one
Woo.
in. Little short of the 5-star runtime, but it's late, and I think you could probably hear Dexter screaming in the background now.
No, actually, you can't.
Nice. My noise gate works. But yeah, what are you going to be getting into this week?
Unfortunately, I'm busy all
That's fair.
week with work. I'm probably going to be playing more of Final Fantasy 1 just because I'm leaving 16 for stream. This week is my birthday, so we'll see what comes out of that.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
And you're not old yet like I am. You're not dreading birthdays
You're not, dude, we're not that far off from each other.
Okay. You say that when you hit 35, all right?
I turned 29 this year. Like, we're not that far off from each other.
It's 6 years.
6 years to me is not far. If we're 10, maybe, but
right. That I guess is a valid point. I'm going to be probably streaming again this week. I'll probably do more Final Fantasy 1. I'm hoping, I'm not going to promise this time, but I'm hoping that I will finish season this week. Fingers crossed. I'm going to give it the good college try, which I flunked out of college 3 times. So we'll see how
we
that goes.
hope to hear from you next week about the ending.
Yes.
Of season.
Yes. I think I maybe have 2 hours left.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
We'll see. And then more 16. I'm sure we'll have more 16 talk. As I get farther in, I'm hoping to catch up to Dustin. Again, I'll give it the good college try. And yeah, that was the podcast. Where can they follow you, man?
Yeah, I mean, same place, same apps. Darius Prime on Twitch and Darius Prime VOTTV on Twitter or X, depending on whatever it is by the end tonight.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, you can follow me on Twitter, X, whatever, at chasing_chase. Follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/chaseandchasetv. You can follow us on YouTube and Twitter at _blackboxsignal and on Twitch at twitch.tv/blackboxsignal. And you can email us at blackboxsignalpodcast@gmail.com. Someday I'm going to get a better email. But yeah, until next time, as always, stay safe, comrades.
Bye.